Hello, it's Erica from Sweet E Designs, and today we're going to be doing a process video for the mermaid art journal page. I've posted a few teasers on my Instagram and my Facebook, but it's just literally taking me forever to get this video put together. So to get started, what we're doing is taking some patterned tissue paper from Tim Holtz, and we're essentially decoupaging it to the page using gesso and a palette knife. And this is a really great way to add some interesting texture to your background, but with minimal effort. And it just has like book pages and music notes. You can see there's some butterflies and sort of like blueprint type things. And then once we get that done, we're going to take a stencil and slap on some gesso with the palette knife just to give it some more texture. This is a cardboard stencil, and same thing, just kind of throw on some gesso. And it's a little messy, but that's all part of the process, right? I cannot keep my hands clean when I do an art journal layout. Like, I end up covered in paint and gesso and ink, and it's ridiculous. So what I'm doing now is taking some just like cheap acrylic paint and putting some color onto the pages. And I think I'm going to change my method here in just a second, adding some more water to the paint just to mix it and make it a little bit more fluid. And let's see. I think through the magic of editing, we have finished page now with all that light blue color put on there. And then what I just did was spray some water on my art mat, and then taking a piece of packaging and just splooshing some of that paint on there in a random pattern. No rhyme or reason at all to what I'm doing, just adding it here, adding it there, spraying it with some more water, and then you just turn around and you smush the packaging onto the paper, and it creates just this beautiful, messy, I don't know, almost watercolor, but not really, just background. Super easy. And then let's see. So now we're going to clean this up, and I don't know if you can hear my cat in the background. She's not very happy with me because I stopped petting her. All right. So moving on, we have a stamp, and we're going to cut out the stamp just using some scissors. I used archival ink, so it's water resistant, and I'm looking for a mermaid tail on Google, and I'm literally just going to trace this image on a piece of printer paper, and that's going to give me sort of a template to cut out on my pattern paper that I'm going to use. And so we're going to cut this out of the printer paper, and then trace it onto the scrapbook paper. And that way I can't really draw, so it's gonna be just a nice shape, more uniform and more realistic than probably what I could do myself. And then just taking a pencil and just kind of shaping it up just a little bit and making it a little bit darker so I can see it, and then cutting that out with some scissors. And this paper is really nice. It is this really iridescent blue, shimmery, glossy foil paper. As you can kind of see there, it's very glossy. It almost has like a mirror-like effect. And just going to trim up some of that girl stamp. I cut off her legs. and then turned her into a mermaid. So it's okay. Now I'm just taking some watercolor, and these watercolors are from Michaels. Pretty inexpensive, especially if you use your coupon on them. And I love them and use them all the time. As you can tell, they are super messy and very well loved. And I'm just going to color in the top of the mermaid here, just to give it some more interesting definition and not have that just blank white look on there. These are a metallic watercolor, and they're amazing if you want something that's really shimmery and super easy to use. These are definitely going to be your go-to. I love them. And I'm just going to do some more shading. I think I'm coloring in the mermaid's hair. And these stamps don't have a face on the girl. And actually, I kind of like that. So I don't end up adding a face or anything like that. I just leave it as is. And then I've got a box of sequins and glitter here. And I just pulled out some blue and green glitter, and I'm gonna mix that up and put that on her top, because I decided that even though those watercolors are shimmery, I felt like it just wasn't quite enough to match how shiny her tail is. And so I added some glitter to her top. Sorry about the focusing or lack of focusing there. I'm not exactly sure how to use my camera yet, so just bear with me and we'll figure it out together. All right, so now I'm debating on where to put her. I think I've decided, yeah, I'm gonna go right here in the corner, and I'm using my matte gel medium, and I'm just going to kind of glue her down. And because her top is that glitter, I'm not gonna put the matte gel on that. I'm just gonna kind of go carefully around her top and just kind of glue the edges down. And then I made a mess on her tail, so trying to clear that up, and I decided that I didn't really like the way the tail looked with the matte gel on it. And so I'm going to take some sequins and essentially do a fishtail, fish scale kind of pattern on the shiny paper there. And I actually really love the way this came out. It was a little time consuming gluing each of the individual sequences on there, but I'm pretty happy with it. I just really liked it. All right, so now I am just fussy cutting out some scrapbook paper flowers, and I'm not really sure what those other things are. They're like swirlies and leaves, but not really either. I don't know, but it kind of looked like seaweed, I guess, and that's where I was going with that. And so now I'm just digging through my ephemera box and picking out some other things to kind of help with this cluster that I'm gonna do. And I would love to know how you guys store your ephemera. I've tried it a couple different ways. I've tried breaking it down by color, so I put like all the pink pieces together and all the orange pieces together and all the blue pieces together, and that just didn't seem to work for me because I always went towards one color, even though I literally had all of the colors of the rainbow, and that just didn't work for me. And then I've tried breaking it down by type, so I would put all the florals in one box and all the words in another box and all the hearts in one box, and then that just didn't seem to work for me. So right now they are all just dumped into the big box, and it's literally a hot mess when you try and find anything of like anything. So I would love to know how you guys are sorting your ephemera. Please share your thoughts with me on that. And then I'll get back to you with what I have come up with from your suggestions. All right, so now I'm just taking some thread, you know how I love my thread, and just wrapping around my finger into a messy bundle, and then using the red double-sided tape to just kind of adhere that to the page. And then I have some vellum hearts, which I initially tried sticking down with some glossy accents. It ends up not working because it just kind of slipped and slid all around. You can see somewhere here, I try and push it down. Oh, there it goes. And that just didn't work. So I'm going to take that red double-sided tape and clear off some of the glossy accents there and put the double-sided tape on it. And then that seems to hold it down on the thread and the paper, and that seems to work. I have the absolute hardest time getting that red backer off of that tape. I struggle so much with it, and I left it in because sometimes I watch some videos and the girls that are doing these crafting pages just make it look so effortless and so easy, and real life is not like that. Like, I want to see some of these girls and like see how they struggle and how they just like fiddle with placement and whatnot. And I've cut a lot of that out as well, but I did leave some of it in because it is a process doing a layout like this. Like, you have to figure out, you know, where you want each piece to go. And yeah, so here's that box again of ephemera. As you can see, it is literally a mess. Like, it's just everything shoved in there, and you have to dig and dig and dig and dig and dig some more because I can't come up with a good organization system for it. So far I've pulled out a vellum cutout that says totally, a vellum star, and actually it's not vellum, it's acetate, I'm sorry, and a little arrow. I pulled out a blue arrow, but I thought that one was too dark and just didn't really go with it. Let's see. So now I'm going to take some gesso and mix it with a little bit of paint. And I'm going to cover the flowers in the bottom corner because I felt like they were just standing out too much and the colors were not really going with the colors of the theme that I had. And so I started with a palette knife, decided that didn't really work, so I grabbed a paintbrush and just kind of muted the colors on the background. And using the paper towel to just kind of wipe some of that off, and so you can see the details of the flowers and the leaves are still there, but the colors are muted with the blues, and it just kind of helps blend it into the background. And taking just a little bit of darker paint and just kind of adding some spots here and there to kind of go with the rest of the page. And then taking some acrylic ink, I don't know what this is, I think it's ink, and just kind of do some splatters all over the page with a thin brush just to give it a little bit more texture and definition and just a little more interesting. And then I think, yeah, so I'm going to take the dropper and actually do some big splotches of ink. I think I decided that they were too big, so I took the paper towel and wiped some of those off. And then now I have some black ink, and I'm going to do the same thing. I've cleaned off my brush, and then I'm just going to splash it on there. And as you can see, I didn't cover up the mermaid, so I have a mild freak out where I dropped a drop of black ink on her. Luckily, it did come off. I will have to go back and fix her top because when I was wiping it off, I wiped off a lot of the glitter. But that's okay. So now taking the heat gun and just kind of drying everything. because I'm super impatient and I don't like waiting for things to air dry. All right, and then sticking down the Totally acetate with that red double-sided tape, and then the same thing with the acetate star. As you can see, struggling again to get that red tape off. And then I just stuck down that arrow. And then, let's see, so cleaning up my mat, and what is next? Okay, so I've got my quote written down, and I believe, yeah, I'm going to stamp out some of the words, and then I'm going to just hand letter some of the other words. So it'll have some script and some block font, and I just like mixing fonts. Even if I don't stamp the image and I hand letter the whole thing, I like to do different styles of lettering just to give it some visual interest. And yeah, this part takes a little bit, so I'll come back in just a second. Okay, so now I'm going to take a pen and go over those pencil lines and just kind of thicken up some of them. And these pens, I'm going to butcher this name, but they're from Tombow. Oh, actually, these don't have the name on them because it's in Japanese lettering. So I'll look up what they are and link it down below in the description. As per usual, I'll also put a list of all the supplies that I have used, and just adding enamel dots, because of course you have to have enamel dots on everything. They're the best thing in the world. And then let's see, so those are some enamel hearts. I think those are actually from Illustrated Faith, which is a Bible journaling company. But I use them for everything. And then taking my white gel pen and adding some highlights here and there, and then doing some highlighting on the lettering. This is going to take a while, so I'll come back to you in just a second. All right, and then now what I'm going to do is just do some highlight and definition on the flowers, because while I did mute everything with the paint and gesso, it did lose a little bit of the detailing, and so I'm just going to kind of showcase some of that and add some like sketchy lines here and there with the gel pen, just to give it something extra. And then of course have to come in with the gold shimmer paint and add some gold dots here and there. And happy fingers! All right, so some close-ups, of course. Now I'd love to hear what you guys think. So please like and comment. I do read all the comments. They mean so much to me. And then make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on my latest videos. and hope you guys enjoy. Bye!